What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to talk about another super rare Transformers card. It's Autobot Whirl. Now, it has been revealed by the lovely folks over at comicbook.com, and you know me deal by now. When we have these lovely people doing these reveals, we need to make sure we give them lots of love so that they keep getting reveals in the future. Certainly sites like comicbook.com are pretty big, which means they can do a lot of good for pushing the game forward and showing people about the game and advancing the game and all of that good stuff. So lots of love to comicbook.com, shall we? Yeah? Go give them a bit of a click. Make them know we appreciate it. Because seriously, the more views they get on this, the more they're going to want to do stuff like this in the future, and all it's going to do is help grow the game. So what about Whirl then? It's a weird one, but it's a good one. 12-star character is very expensive. No bones about that. But the stats are pretty gosh darn good, mostly. Health of 15? Good. Attack of 6 or 7? Good. Defense of 1 or 0? No! That's terrible! And does a fair bit to undermine the fact that you've got quite high health. That doesn't have to stop you playing a whole bunch of armor. And of course, if you can get enough force fields out, you can guarantee a 4-hit KO, which is kind of interesting. But, I mean, I'd rather have high health, because if you've got low health, then it leaves you very susceptible to cheeky damage. But even so, the defense of 1 or 0 is slightly worrying. Having said that, if you've got a defense of 0, then you could always just go completely the other way. Play something like an erratic lightning that gives you an extra +3 attack, but -1 defense. And then all of a sudden in alt mode, you've got 10 attack, 0 defense. But you've got 15 health and you've got 10 attack. So at that stage, the 0 defense doesn't seem quite so bad. Having a look at the skills here in bot mode, this cannot take more than 5 attack damage from a single ranged character's attack. Oh yeah, that's going to help. That's actually going to really help. Because now, you go, well, okay, I've got low defense, but I've basically got a built-in force field. It's not quite as good as force field. Force field lowers you to 4 damage, this lowers you to 5, but all in, ladies and gentlemen, that ain't too bad. And this is nice. This gives you a really good advantage. This basically says, look, I've got high attack, I've got high health, I've got low defense, but don't worry, I've actually got a built-in skill that stops me taking that much damage anyway. The issue, of course, being it's only against ranged characters. So I think probably the best examples we can give here are General Optimus Prime, Wave 3 and Wave 4, because they really show how this card can work or not work. So we look at the Wave 3 General Optimus Prime, what we find is we are a ranged character in bot mode with 6 attack. It is a higher attacking side. But you'd be limited to 5 attack or 5 damage. That would be bad. Now, especially if Autobot Whirl is going a little bit, you know what, I've got high attack and low defense, let's milk this. You're going to be upset a little bit. Except you just flick into alt mode, then you're a melee character, not a ranged character, and even though you lose 2 attack, if you're playing enough orange icons and they're not going very defensive, you'll end up doing more than 5 damage and it'll be totally worth it. So they can literally just flip to the other mode, and all of a sudden there's very little you can do about it, and they can then start dropping huge damage. If you're taking advantage of your high attack and going for an orange attacking deck. But if we take a look at Wave 4 General Optimus Prime, we can see that in bot mode, attack of 8, very good. Oh, it's a ranged character. I'll flip into alt mode, I'll go down to an attack of 7, but that's alright. Oh, wait, no. I'm still a ranged character. And that basically sums up this ability in a nutshell. If your opponent has got a character which is ranged one side and not the other, they can just flip and attack you, and they might end up giving up a little bit of natural attack, but if they're playing an orangey deck and Whirl isn't playing a bluey deck, it's going to be totally worth it. If they're playing totally ranged characters, that's fine. Having said that, I mean, let's go back to the Energon Invitational winning deck, shall we? Daniel Arnold played Wave 4 Optimus Prime. Well, he played it with Flame War and Skydive. both of which are specialists. And no, they're not as good attackers. I'm not going to pretend that they are. But they're not limited to 5 damage. Now, maybe that means that as the Autobot Whirl player, you try and go after them and take them out nice and early to lock your opponent out the game, and that could create a bit of a metagame, a bit of a game within the game, where you're trying to go after all of your opponent's non-range characters so that you lock them into having to attack with a range character, and you play a little bit of healing here, and then you really are rolling. It's an interesting ability. I worry it's a little bit too specific. Flipping over into alt mode, when this attacks and you flip at least one blue icon, do 1 damage to each non-defending enemy. And instantly I'm starting to rethink my entire theory about this card. Because I'm looking at this as natural low defense but high health, let's go kind of glass cannon, although I am fully aware that a 12-star glass cannon might be a little bit reckless. That's kind of how I play every trading card game. Full aggressive, little bit reckless. Okay, fine. But my point here is, it gives you another option. Maybe now you do go blue. Because doing 1 damage to each non-defending enemy, that's pretty gosh darn good. Now, obviously, it's better against wider decks and taller. If you're against a 5-wide deck, you're putting 4 damage on the field. If you're against a 2-wide deck, you're putting 1 damage on the field. Against your opponent's final character, this doesn't actually do anything. But maybe we can go the other way with Autobot Whirl here. We go, you know what, I've got a naturally high attack. My defense sucks, but my health is high. Maybe I go lots of armor, lots of blue, very defensive, because I've got a naturally high attack, plus I'm building in some cheeky damage. And actually, maybe that works. And that's when I start to really like Autobot Whirl. Because whenever I can find a character and look at it and start thinking about multiple different ways that I can play the character without stretching, I'm kind of loving it. Take the high attack and go a bit glass cannon, fingers crossed you're against range characters, or you can go a little bit slower and more defensive, cheeky damage, natural high attack, and go that way. And to be fair, you are a ranged character, and as I've said on many, many occasions, ranged characters really are the best when it comes to cheeky damage. Marksmanship does 2 damage to a character in bot mode, if you've got a ranged character out, but Autobot Whirl is, and it's got a blue icon to boot. Armed Hovercraft, when you attach it, does 1 damage to each of your opponent's characters, not unlike your alt mode skill, although remember the alt mode skill does not hit the defending character, and it's got a blue icon as well, and it gives you +1 attack, so now in alt mode you've got a natural 8 attack. And if I'm playing a blue deck with a natural 8 attack, and I can stop a little bit of damage coming on, and I've got a natural 8 attack and a bunch of cheeky damage, probably don't need that many orange icons. And now I'm almost ignoring the bot mode. Now I'm looking at the bot mode and going, you know what? You've got the extra 1 defense, but if I've got enough blue icons and enough armor, that isn't going to worry me. You've got 1 less attack, and you've got a skill which is going to be really good against range characters, so now that's my goal. Now I am basically using bot mode to defend against range characters only. And now it becomes very, very, very fun. And the fact that about halfway through the video, I suddenly pivoted and went, oh wait, no, actually, here's another way to play it. That's kind of cool. Also, just to be clear, obviously this video was planned in advance, but I really like the way that we can look at it and go, hey, let's play it this way, it works. Oh, hang on a second. Oh, and speaking of hanging on a second, we've got a stratagem here as well. It is a 1-star stratagem, all of them have been so far. And it says, when one of your helicopters attacks, and you have Autobot Whirl Aerial Assault on the battlefield, plan 1. You may put 1 card from your hand on top of your deck. I adore this. I absolutely adore this. I mean, firstly, it's a bit of love for helicopters, and we have not had enough love for helicopters so far. Like, when we're looking at love for helicopters, we have literally only seen multi-missile pod, which, to be fair, does cheeky damage and has a blue icon, so kind of fits the theme we might be going for here. And if anyone's thinking, hang on a second, what's he really does like his cheeky damage when he talks through these videos? Yes, Wussy really does. love cheeky damage. So, the point here is extremely simple. You get plan 1. You get to take a card from your hand and put it on top of your deck. That could be a white icon card, so you guarantee to flip a white, so you can flip 2 extra battle cards while attacking. Or, well, really just attacking, unfortunately. You see, this is only attacking. So, again, you're going to be a bit limited here. So let's say you are playing a full defensive deck. Lots of blue icons. You can use this to whack a white down, and that's fine. But that's about it. You're not going to get much more from this. In an attacking deck, you can get stuff like Improvised Shield, for instance, which has got that double orange icon, and then either you flip it naturally, yay! Or you draw into it, and then you put it down and flip it, cheating a little bit. Either way, you're good. And that's kind of my theory here. I think if I'm going full defensive cheeky damage, I don't know if I want to just be putting cards on top of my deck. Maybe for the white icons occasionally, but I don't know if that's worth a star. Now, if it was when you battle, yes. But otherwise, no. But if I'm playing a more attacking deck and I'm playing the double orange icons, I am all over it. I like Autobot Whirl. When I first looked at the bot mode, I was kind of loving it, but it did seem a little bit... But when I started thinking about it as a blue deck with cheeky damage, yeah, I'm all over it. And you can still go glass cannon if you want to. Life is good, ladies and gentlemen. Life is good. But for now, I would like to know what you all think about Autobot Whirl. And I would all like you all to go and give some love to comicbook.com. Seriously, love to the people who do the spoilers. But tell me what you think about it. Go nuts in the comment section. Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWassy. That's where we talk Transformers and a whole bunch of other games. And do please consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, all kinds of fun stuff. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.